Last season, millions tuned into the Betrayal podcast to hear a shocking story of deception. I'm Andrea Gunning, and now we're sharing an all-new story of betrayal. Justin Rutherford. Doctor, father, family man. It was the perfect cover to hide behind.
Detective Weaver said, "I'm sure you know why we're here." I was like, what in the world is going on?
Listen to Betrayal on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's brand new, Season 2. I'm Marissa Thalberg.
And I'm Stephen Wolf-Bedeta, and we're excited to be back having bigger, bolder, and always real conversations.
Straight from the C-suite front lines of marketing, media, and more.
We have great friends joining from people you may know, like Vilmer Valderrama and Bobby Burke.
And people you'll want to know. So grab a coffee or, hey, even an Aperol Spritz and come join us on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart.
Listen to brand new on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, acclaimed comics writer and notorious Scott Summers hater, Rosie Knight.
Well, hello, Emmy-winning podcaster and totally unbiased Targaryen royal supporter, Jason Concepcion.
Somehow the X-Ray Vision podcast has returned.
And like always, we'll be here every week.
You'll hear from TV writers, actors, comics creators, pop culture critics.
Nothing is off the table.
Listen to X-Ray Vision on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Episode 411. What to budget for this summer.
Welcome to the Frugal Friends podcast, where you'll learn to save money, embrace simplicity, and live a richer life. Here are your hosts, Jen and Jill.
Welcome to Frugal Friends podcast. My name is Jen.
My name is Jill.
And today we are giving you the 411 on what you need to budget for this summer. Hopefully you've already been saving, but if you haven't, here's what to look out for.
Sometimes the most obvious needs to be restated because we may or may not be thinking about all the things, extra expenses. Summer's apparently the second most spendy season next to wintertime. And we get caught off every year by the holidays, and you probably get caught off every year by whatever comes up in the summer. So this is going to be your friendly reminder, things you can do to start preparing now if you haven't yet. And maybe even a few sprinkled in things of what to do if you didn't prepare and you won't have time to prepare. How can you still enjoy your summer?
Yes, but first, this episode is brought to you by 411. The 411, the information you need to know, especially when you have a 401k from a previous employer. You need the 411 on how to get control of that money. When you leave your employer, then you relinquish any control you have over that. So it just sits there, and you need to get it into a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, depending on what your 401k is. You need to get it somewhere where you control it, and that can be confusing. And that's why we love Capitalize. It is a free service that helps you find where your 401k is and roll it over into the IRA of your choice. So you can go to frugalfriendspodcast.com/capitalize, CAPITALIZE, to use that service for free and get the 411 on your money.
Good tie-in, Jen.
Yes.
That's why you said 411 instead of 411 in this episode title. It's not because we don't know numbers.
It is. Yep, that's exactly right.
Because we know how to be relevant.
All right. It is summer, babies. It is summer. And if you love budgeting, then let me give you some real good episodes to queue up. Episode 367, Best Budgeting Tips for 2024. Help you plan the rest of the year. And episode 318, Frugal Living Tips for Summer. That episode specifically is all the ways summer can save you money. You can take advantage of this season because while this is the second spendiest season, there are also opportunities that allow you to save where other seasons don't.
Yeah, if you so choose.
So, and today we're talking about the spendy parts.
And before we get to that, we also want to look at your answers to our poll in a recent friend letter email we sent out. We asked, what's your biggest expense in the summer besides your usual spending? Is it vacation? Is it just all the small activities throughout the summer, air conditioning, food, or something else? A few of you said something else, but the majority of you said vacation, which makes sense. It does cost a lot of money, but right behind that is small activities throughout the summer and air conditioning. Certainly our utility bills can increase in the summer, but I think we're probably going to be focusing in a lot more on the vacations and the small activities throughout the summer, ways to plan and ways to save.
Yes. Somebody who answered air conditioning, their reasoning was they just said Texas. And as people who live in Florida, we get it. Florida. So yes, this is the time that we just stay inside. And if you have kids, summer camp. Gosh, oh man. I am thankfully going to just opt for smaller activities instead of a full summer camp. But man, they are expensive. They are so expensive.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So this episode is coming out the very last day of May, which for some people, the summertime really has already begun. Your kids will be out of school already. And when I say that, I mean for people with kids or those still in school.
When this airs, Frugal Friends will be on summer break. You're still going to get 2 episodes a week, but physically, we will not be recording. We'll already have recorded it all.
But if you are trying to make up for lost time, if this wasn't something you've been preparing for the holidays, but you completely forgot to prepare for summer, then start now. One of the things that we would have you consider doing is possibly a no spend challenge. That doesn't have to be for an entire month. You could do that for a couple of weeks if you still have a little bit of time before the kids are out of school or before you want to start doing some of the more fun stuff that might be coming up in June, July, August. So a no spend challenge, we love them for how they can retrain our spending habits, but they do also have the side and added benefit of helping us to get a little bit of extra money out of our paychecks month to month that you could put towards some of these activities or vacations that you might be wanting to do. So if that's something that you're like, I'm going to need a little bit of extra money, consider that. But we also want to talk about some of these tips, ways to prepare alongside what do you need to start saving for the summer. And this article comes from The Motley Fool. It's titled 14 Summer Expenses to Start Saving For. We're not going to go through all of them. We're going to go through the ones that we think are most relevant for most people, which the first one that I'm going to highlight is vacations and vacation gear. We all probably know if we've got a vacation coming up, but I think one of the pieces we often forget is all of the peripheral expenses of a vacation. So is your luggage still usable and in good shape? Are you going to need to be bringing along travel-sized toiletries, sunscreen? What might you need to be purchasing? And I'm not talking the new bathing suit, new outfit. Like, I do think those are the things that if you don't have the money for it, you've not planned it in your spending plan, then it can be good to find contentment in what you already have. But sunscreen, don't pass that up. Like, plan for those things. If you haven't totally thought about the fact that you're probably going to be eating more meals out when you're on vacation, it's great if you already have the hotel and the flight booked, but what additional expenses are you going to come across that you need to be setting a little bit more money aside for?
Yeah, those peripheral expenses are really what can get you. And I know there's been times where I've been so concerned with my outfits and what I need to buy new for a vacation that I forget some of the real basics and then end up having to buy them while on vacation, and they are more expensive. So you probably know you have a vacation scheduled for June or July. Take some time a few weeks before to to just quasi pack, just do a run through pack. Make sure you have everything so that you're not needing to buy anything while you're there. And then also think about maybe you're able to bring an air fryer or something to create more meals in your hotel room than you have to buy out. You could also, if you are a Sam's Club or Costco member, see if there's one nearby. They have like the pre-made dinners that you can just like grab and take. And again, that's something you can make in your Airbnb, or even like a grocery store. Just like identify grocery stores that have the pre-made meals that you can be buying there, and just do some pre-planning so that you can spend less on those peripherals.
I would also recommend gathering up any of your gift cards that maybe you haven't used yet. If you have anything left over from the holidays, bring those along. Allow that to be what informs you on where you might go out to eat or have a little bit of extra spending. I think too, if you're realizing you're going to need a little bit of extra cash, go through your house and see if there's things that you can sell, because this is like your expenses are raising. So are there ways without a lot of effort you can bring in a little bit of that extra cash so you have a little bit of cushion for the things that you want to do?
Absolutely. Facebook Marketplace is a great thing to utilize right now.
Yes.
And for selling and for buying.
Also, I'd say look on Groupon too for the activities that you want to do if you're traveling within the States. And especially as a family, you want to maybe have an idea of, I want to go bowling, or we want to take a boat tour. We want to do these things. Start planning now and get those things at a discount ahead of time.
So the next one I kind of already mentioned is summer camp. But I also want to talk about, in addition to that, if you're not doing a summer camp, all the activities that will make up your summer. Like I'm already thinking about how we're going to structure summer. So creating a plan for, okay, these are the free things I have available to me. These are the VBS. These are the free museums. These are the free events for summer. There's so many free events for kids on the summer. So let's take an inventory, do some research, compile all of those things, put them on the calendar, and then we can start to put in things that cost money. But we want to prioritize the free activities. And this can be going to YouTube as well. What are free activities I can do with my kid outside? What are free activities I can do inside? And kind of getting the inventory of activities you want to do over the summer so that you can start getting materials together at lower cost. Maybe it's on the Buy Nothing group. Maybe you have then time to look around your house for the things you know you have, but you don't know where they are. Or it's going to eBay, Poshmark, Facebook Marketplace to get these things. Because when we have time to plan, this is the same reason we do the run through of the packing. When we have time to plan, then we have time to get the things we need at a lower cost.
Planning is always going to be key. I think we're going to try and find ways to make planning as simplified and accessible as possible, but we will have the most money saved, the most peace of mind when we are able to carve out that time to plan. My good friend Jenna, with every season, will sit down, her and her husband Dave will sit down with their kids and plan out, or just write a list of, what do you want to do? What do you want to do this summer? What do you want to do this winter? And write it all down. And that kind of can help be the guide. Like you're describing, look up free activities. You can also decide as a family, what are the things that you want to do? Or if you don't even have kids, like write it down. What do you want to do? And then plug it in so that week to week, you've got things to look forward to. You can feel like you're checking things off the list as a family, making memories and not going bored, especially with the kids. I think that's a big one. When you're lacking the structure, having these things to be able to fill in the gaps is really helpful. And even more helpful when they've been the ones to help you make the plan.
Absolutely. And then you can get intentional. Like I think the biggest thing is that when we don't plan, then we just resort to the activities that are most frequently in front of us or easiest to identify. And those are typically going to be the ones that have marketing behind them, and they're going to cost money because of that. It is not as easy to find free events. You have to go looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
So being intentional can help you avoid the last minute planning that often costs us a lot of money.
Yeah. I will also add increased gas and electric bills. So gas for your car and electric bills, like with the AC. A lot of times people are driving a whole lot more in the summer. And this is just something to be aware of and not shocked by, that you're probably going to be refilling your car more often. You're probably going to see a little bit of spike in your electricity bill. Not that there's a ton that you can do to just fabricate more money, but there could be some things to think about. Knowing that I'm going to have to fill my gas more, are there other adjustments I can make in other areas so that it allows for this adjustment in my spending plan? I know for me, my meals get a lot more simple in the summer because I am running around a lot more. So I'm doing a lot more kind of potluck style dinners with friends, a lot more picnics, a lot more cold meals. And that does actually help me save on my grocery bill in the summer. It's salads and sandwiches and backyard barbecues where I just have to bring one side dish. So know that there could be room in the budget where the holidays are, okay, plan for food. Right now it's yes, food, but recognize that you can go a whole lot more simple. You probably don't want big, heavy meals. You're probably not going to want to be even using electricity to cook a lot. You're not going to be using your oven or stovetop as much. So lean into that to make room for some of these other things.
Yeah. Air conditioning, man, you all said it. Look at now the places you need to be patching up or insulating, the places where your AC is leaving your house. Do it in early June so that in mid-July, you're not shocked by any air conditioning bills.
Yeah.
So
Eric and I both in the summer, like hot summer, and in the winter time have used the plastic over the windows, and that helped significantly keep the area cool. I'm thinking when we were in a previous log cabin and when we were in our RV, but to your point of checking out where air is leaving your house, it does actually make a difference to really be able to seal up as much as you can.
Yeah. Now that I have kids, I'm hyper aware of the information I put online. But unfortunately, there's only so much I can do. Our personal information is everywhere on the internet, and I don't have time to monitor and take it off every website. That's why I personally use Delete Me.
Delete Me is a service that finds and removes any personal information from hundreds of data broker websites and makes sure it stays off. Delete Me isn't just a one-time service. It's always working for you, constantly monitoring and removing the personal information you don't want on the internet.
I signed up, completed a questionnaire, and they took it from there, submitting opt-out requests to data broker sites and keeping my personal info private.
To take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now, at a special discount for our listeners, today get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/frugal and use promo code FRUGAL at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/frugal and enter code FRUGAL at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/frugal, code FRUGAL.
Last season, millions tuned into the Betrayal podcast to hear a shocking story of deception. I'm Andrea Gunning, and now we're sharing an all-new story of betrayal. Stacy thought she had the perfect husband. Doctor, father, family man. It was the perfect cover for Justin Rutherford to hide behind.
They led me into the house, and I mean, it was like a movie. He was sitting at our kitchen table. The cops were guarding him.
Stacy learned how far her husband would go to save himself.
I slept with a loaded gun next to my bed.
He did not just say, I wish he was dead. He actually gave details and explained different scenarios on how to kill him.
He, to me, is scarier than Jeffrey Dahmer.
Listen to Betrayal on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We started talking about this incident. Drugs and officials cover up. You couldn't believe it.
From iHeart Podcasts.
It's like the police knew who he was before they got here.
A story about money, power, and corruption.
The medical school dean at USC was leading a secret double life.
She's breathing right now? Yes, she's absolutely breathing. I'm a doctor, actually.
There's no way that guy is a doctor.
I'm Paul Pringle, and I'm an investigative reporter for the LA Times. This is the story of an investigation that starts in a hotel room in Pasadena, California, and reaches all the way to the top of two of the most powerful institutions in the city of Los Angeles.
When people fall in line, they fall in line.
Looking back, I realized, everyone knew.
This is Fallen Angels, a story of California corruption.
We're always going to have predators. It's the good people who stand by and do nothing that allow them to flourish.
Binge the full season of Fallen Angels, a story of California corruption. Now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So the next one for me, I will continue to talk about kids' activities, but I will include the things you do have to pay for now. So these are memberships and fees and childcare. So if you are putting your child in childcare, there is not a lot you can do there. Your childcare provider deserves all of your money for taking care of all of the children. I truly believe that. But if you are not, if you are, and then that's where you're going to want to be intentional about reducing other things in your life. Otherwise, so memberships to the pool for the summer or fees to like indoor playgrounds. I know in Florida, we need the indoor playground. So I personally am going to get like a 10 punch card, 10 visit punch card to an indoor playground. And then I'm going to, do those out over the summer. So anything like swim lessons, anything that costs money to right now be comparing prices on pools and memberships and indoor playgrounds. Like think about what you want to do and compare the prices and then put that down on your schedule. The worst thing is that we buy these things, we get a really good deal on them, and we don't utilize them all.
Yeah.
You
buy too many or you forget you had them.
So put it on the calendar so you make sure you use it.
Yeah, that's key. The next one on the list that I'll highlight is both graduation and wedding gifts. Start to think about who do you know that's graduating? What weddings have you been invited to? And start to plan for how you're going to bring gifts. And if you're feeling like you can't afford that, then you should probably not go to the wedding or to the graduation. You can send a nice card. But also there are ways that you can think about giving nice gifts in a affordable way. I don't like using that word, but it's for lack of a better one. I love group gifts for weddings. I think that you can make your money go further when you're able to do that. I think it can also be worthwhile to look at what are the things that are on sale during the time that you are going to the wedding. Like we know certain types of appliances or kitchen items can go on sale right around the summertime. So you might be able to even give a really good gift at a reduced price than what it might typically go for throughout the year.
Yeah, but if you wait until the last minute, like I do, then you're paying full price for something that you really don't need to. I love the group gift idea because it is most likely that you are going to that wedding with 2 or 3 other people that you know, and they are also stressed about the gift. So you can pull your money to get a really nice gift because we are frugal. We are not cheap.
Yes.
We are generous.
Yes. And if you can't be generous, then don't go out to eat if you can't tip.
Yeah.
Don't go to the wedding if you can't give a gift.
Yes. Yes.
One of my favorite things to do is back to the selling things on Facebook Marketplace. But whenever I do get cash, because it's not much these days, I just stash it away. So that ends up being what I will spend on fun activities or gifts like wedding. So I typically am a person who shows up with a card with cash in it. So that's something to consider too. If you're not one to typically use cash, if you're not a cash envelope girly like me, then keep those things aside and just be able to pull from that for these fun things you want to do throughout the summer or the gift that you forgot about.
And shout out to Brittany, our Frugal Friends, like long-time listener, member, friend who is getting married
tomorrow,
literally the day after this episode comes out. So I don't know if you'll be listening, Brittany, but
I'm very excited about the gift we got for her.
I hope you got our gift.
Yes, we did send a gift to Brittany. I think she probably got it already. It's
Hopefully.
Knives. I can't not talk about it.
Oh
I
my
freaking
gosh,
love knives.
Jill
She
would
had
send knives.
a great knife set on her registry. And I was like, boom, there it is. I knew it. Frugal Friends are definitely gonna get Brittany and her new spouse.
If you send us an invitation to your wedding, we might show up, but we'll definitely get knives. We'll definitely get you knives.
Uh-oh, now we're going to get a lot of people sending us
you gotta
fake wedding invites.
You have to be willing for us to show up. That's the thing. It's the risk you take. If you invite us to your wedding, you have to be willing for us to show up.
It has to be a real invite.
It has to be a real invite. I need to be able to RSVP. I need to verify with the location about the open bar. But you will get knives. That's just, I mean, you know that. All right. So I'm going to keep this theme going because apparently I have the children.
So they say.
So they say. School supplies and new clothes. This is for real. I realized this when Kai went to pre-K that required uniforms, and I'm looking all over Facebook Marketplace and Facebook. I was like, where are the uniform swaps? Where are the uniforms? And 9 months into this year, I realized why there's no swaps or uniforms on Marketplace is because they are destroyed. Like, I sent Kai to school this morning with a shirt with a white polo covered in permanent marker drawings. He's there right now with it.
But I put it on him.
I put it on him. He's got like 6 weeks of school left and we're not buying more.
Yeah.
But the kids do grow throughout the year. So the clothing I bought in the summer by Christmas, I had to get him a bigger size.
Yeah.
So think about sizing. Think about how close your kid is to the next size up, and potentially send them in baggier clothes the first half of the year. I don't know. But they have great sales on school clothes at the end of summer. You've got your tax-free days. So do some loading up. Do as much secondhand as you can. And man, if you're going, with uniforms, God
still
bless you.
feel like there's going to be stuff at the thrift store or potentially if you do enjoy going to yard sales, because I do think people will buy ahead of time and then their kid just never ends up being that size.
We did find a lot of his pants and shorts at the thrift store, a couple of shirts.
Yeah.
So definitely pants and shorts. Shorts especially. Pants, the knees tend to like rub out. But oh my gosh, 10 times out of 10, I can find shorts, at least in uniforms. And then like if it's just regular clothes that your kid is wearing, those you can find in abundance at the thrift store. Like literally new with tags. Also check out kids consignment like Stelly Bellies That's, I think, a national chain, but kids consignment stores locally.
And Benny should be a good extension for this
Benny,
too, right?
yes. frugalfriendspodcast.com/BENI. You can go look.
It's free.
Yeah. Say you're looking at the Children's Place uniform tops. So you go on there and you're looking at the tops. The Benny browser extension will then show you on eBay, Poshmark, ThredUp, all the secondhand online retailers, the closest thing to those shirts that are on all those sites, which like 10 times out of 10 will probably be identical because those are the most popular uniform shirts.
It's an awesome extension.
Yes, it's fantastic. So you'll be able to save some money. And usually you'll probably find them honestly new with tags, even on the secondhand sites. So definitely use Benny when you're looking for your kids' clothing. I love telling the story about how I was working at a foster group home and I was in charge of going with the teens for them to pick out their school clothes. And they got a $300 allowance. And I was like, oh, we go into Plato's Closet. You will, and they got so much, they could not spend $300 each at Plato's Closet. And they all got so many things they loved. They were just delighted. It was half off what we would have spent new. Mm-hmm. It was just a fantastic experience. And I got so many punches on my punch card. I got so many 20% off discounts because of that experience.
Wow.
It was
taking advantage of the system.
Win-win.
Win-win-win across the board.
It was just like blessings be blessed, you know? That's what it was.
The last thing on this list that I'll mention is lawn care. I mean, some of you don't have lawns, and that's great. But if you do have a lawn, don't forget that it's going to go nutso in the summer. We forget about that.
I forget every year how nutso. And this is a time thing. If you need to hire somebody to do your lawn over the summer, you better do it yesterday.
Right.
Because they will be booked.
Yeah. But I also think to pace yourself with this. Some of us who do have yards and lawns want to do all of the things and make it look as beautiful as possible. And I also want to give permission to say, sure, mow the lawn, water the plants you care about, but also it doesn't have to look perfect and you don't have to do all the things you ever wanted to do to it this exact summer. You can get, even if you want to mulch, you can get free mulch. Most cities and townships have free mulch available because it's all the debris that they've collected throughout the city that they've ground down into mulch. So look up free mulch in your area, be able to pick that up or figure out how to reuse things on your property. I will often just pile up my leaves in a corner and mow over it and then use that as mulch. And I just propagate the stuff that I already have on my property and plant that. So also know that, you have to take care and maintain things, but don't go nutso.
Yeah, I think don't look at lawns on social media or in lawn care advertisements. I think we really have to be happy with the patches of grass that are in our front and backyards. Like, embrace the patch. It's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. And there is some research you can do for like, what are the best grasses for my area? We don't want to be uneducated or uninformed, but embrace your season. If you are a parent of young children and do not have the time to invest in your lawn or the money, then embrace having an unaesthetic lawn. If you don't have the time to mow every single day, then embrace the weeds, embrace the 6-inch grass.
I will also say, back to like some tips for saving. If you do want to plant some things, it's also really possible that your city has plants that they would give you for free to plant on your property. Like Pinellas County, where we live, There's all sorts of environmental plans to kind of reduce flooding and wanting to plant native plants, which that's definitely something to look up in your area because it's going to be more advantageous to the environment and the ecosystem if you plant what is native to that area. But a lot of times cities will get these grants to do some of these environmental efforts, and they just start looking for places to put all of these plants. So look into that in your area too. You might be able to get some of the stuff that you've wanted for free if you're willing to say, yeah, put it on my property and I'll help out our community in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you want to hire a kid to mow your lawn, ask them yesterday.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, somebody else
That's my
will.
favorite hack. I just call up the kids next door and I tell them to come over and help me. And we get so much done. They can weed, pick up sticks, water the plants. I'm teaching the oldest how to mow. I'm out there with them, but I'm able to get so much more done on the lawn for $5 I pay them each.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, I've spent not a lot of money and I got a lot done.
And how old are those kids?
They are, wait, am I going to get in trouble?
No. I just you can start kids helping in the yard younger than you think.
They are 4, 7, 9, and 12.
And what does the 4-year-old do?
I give him a little watering can. He waters the plants on my porch, and he can pick up sticks and put them in a bucket.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a 4-year-old, then they can start helping you in the yard, in your garden. And that just builds good habits too. Honestly, even if it takes you a little longer to do something, it's going to be a lot better in the long run.
Yeah.
It's going to be time well invested.
Well, these aren't my kids, so they probably do listen to me better than they listen to their own parents, but it works for me.
Yeah.
Find other people's kids to come help
true.
you.
There you go. There
Swap
you go.
Kids for your yard work.
I love that. So the last thing I want to talk about is just a little encouragement, how to have a fun summer when your finances fall short. That's what the title of the article is. And it not even fall short, but just maybe you are in a season where you are really focusing on debt payoff, or you're really focusing on saving for college or something. And so you can still have a really excellent summer. I personally am doing a low spend summer. So I did no spend January, where spent no money on certain things for 30 days. So I'm going to do the same thing over the summer, but instead of those 30 days being consecutive, they're going to be spread out throughout the summer. And so obviously I will spend on, some days, but I'm going to try my hardest to plan in advance to really have a low spend summer. So even those things I'm buying that 10 card punch card, if I go there and don't spend any money, I'll still consider that a no spend day because I took the time to plan and I am rewarding myself for planning. So, but this is when you are trying to pay off debt, really focusing in on the free activities. So museums, passes from the library, go into your library and ask them what else they have, because it's most likely not just library passes. It's also the other day I was in the library and I saw a ukulele kit, learn the ukulele, a kit with a ukulele and a book. And I think it might've been a CD. I'm not sure, but it was just up there. So go in and talk to the librarians and see what's available and just make it a point to take advantage of all that this summer. And then see what your health insurance gets you, what activities you can get discounted or some, are included in stuff like that. We often forget about our employee benefits. In the summer, when things start to maybe slow down, if it's a slower season for you, then take advantage of all of the employee benefits. Or if you're a member of something like AAA or whatever, if there are benefits to a membership, look those up and try to take advantage of them over the summer. It's such a shame. I'll say it again. We get great deals on something. They sell us on all the benefits and the features, and then we never use them. And so this is a really good time to be intentional about the things you have already paid for and utilizing those, the gift cards, all of those benefits. So be flexible, plan in advance, and you can have a really great summer without spending a lot.
Do you know what else is super flexible and gives me a great podcast episode experience?
I think I do.
Without spending any money. The bill of the week.
That's right. It's time for the best minute of your entire week. Maybe a baby was born and his name is William. Maybe you paid off your mortgage. Maybe your car died and you're happy to not have to pay that bill anymore. Duck bills, Buffalo Bills, Bill Clinton. This is the bill of the week.
Hello, Frugal friends. My name is Mary. I am an elementary music teacher, and I like to read a lot in my free time. So my bill of the week is the bill that I have not paid because I got all of my books from the local library. This year, I have read 12 books so far. So I added up the cost of what all of these books would have been had I gone to Barnes & Noble and bought them. And by getting my books from the library, I did not pay $290 for them. That's a lot of money that I get to use for things like gas to get to work, like purchasing tea for my throat, and other wonderful things. Hip, hip, hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray, Mary. Yes.
Just another vote for the library. It's so good. I have audiobooks on my phone right now. I've got a library book at my house. It's just a gift.
Yeah, the library is a gift. They know that they're a gift and they're just over there giving.
Yes.
And this is great, Mary. You are speaking directly to me and tallying up what you would have spent. I love doing stuff like that. Like, what is my cost savings? What might I have spent? $290. That's significant. Not to mention not having your shelves cluttered with a ton of books that most likely, at least for me, I don't read books twice. So then it's just sitting there like this badge of honor, which is cool. But better yet, just call into the Frugal Friends podcast and tell us how many books you read this year. You don't need to stack them up on your shelf. 12 books already. That's amazing, Mary.
Yeah, girl.
Well done. If you all listening want to submit your bill of the week, if it has to do with money you could have spent, but you didn't, and now you're finding better ways to spend it, or you're just out there being a bill, enjoying your summer, frugalfriendspodcast.com/bill. Leave us your bill.
Last season, millions tuned into the Betrayal podcast to hear a shocking story of deception. I'm Andrea Gunning, and now we're sharing an all-new story of betrayal. Stacy thought she had the perfect husband. Doctor, father, family man. It was the perfect cover for Justin Rutherford to hide behind.
They led me into the house, and it was like a movie. He was sitting at our kitchen table. The cops were guarding him.
Stacy learned how far her husband would go to save himself.
I slept with a loaded gun next to my bed.
He did not just say, I wish he was dead. He actually gave details and explained different scenarios on how to kill him.
He, to me, is scarier than Jeffrey Dahmer.
Listen to Betrayal on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We started talking about this incident. Drugs and officials cover up. You couldn't believe it.
From iHeart Podcasts.
It's like the police knew who he was before they got here.
A story about money, power, and corruption.
The medical school dean at USC was leading a secret double life.
He's sleeping. Tornado? Yes, she's absolutely breathing. I'm a doctor, actually.
There's no way that guy is a doctor.
I'm Paul Pringle, and I'm an investigative reporter for the LA Times. This is the story of an investigation that starts in a hotel room in Pasadena, California, and reaches all the way to the top of two of the most powerful institutions in the city of Los Angeles.
When people fall in line, they fall in line.
Looking back, I realized, everyone knew.
This is Fallen Angels, a story of California corruption.
We're always going to have predators. It's the good people who stand by and do nothing that allow them to flourish.
Binge the full season of Fallen Angels, a story of California corruption. Now on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Every week on Talk Easy with Sam Fragoso, I invite an artist, writer, or politician to come to the table and speak from the heart in ways I imagine you haven't heard from them before. Some of my favorites are with Tom Hanks, Margaret Atwood, Questlove, Cate Blanchett, and Oscar Isaac. If that sounds like a varied group of people, it's because it is. I always wanted to make a show where one week we could sit with a politician like Beto or Rourke, the next an author like Min Jin Lee, or TV titans like Bill Hader and Quinta Brunson. Basically, this is a podcast driven by curiosity and an abundance of research. Conversations where people actually start to sound like people. In recent weeks, I sat with Dan Levy, Ava DuVernay, Benny Safdie, and the editor of The New Yorker, David Remnick. You can listen to Talk Easy with Sam Fragoso on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. I hope to see you there.
And now it's time for the lightning round. Pew, 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 pew.
All right. Jill, what are your summer plans? What are you budgeting for this summer?
Similar to you, I am in a low spend season. It's a low spend year. We're going to call it for what it is. 2024.
It's this book, man. It's this because it ain't selling till January. So we ain't seeing any money. It's a sacrifice that we're willing to make.
We're making the sacrifices. Here's the thing. I'm actually really grateful for this. I did write about this a bit in the book. Maybe not necessarily my story, but the idea of contentment, knowing that 2024 was going to be just a little bit tighter, but I was making that choice, has caused me to shift my mindset to say, how can I lean into contentment this year and in every season? What's around me that I can really enjoy? You've heard me talk about this if you've been listening to us in 2024. But the same thing for the summer, but I'm not bummed about it, which feels really cool. We've had far fewer guests. I have not traveled nearly as much as I have in any other previous year. And the slowness and the simplicity and the really challenging myself to find contentment and be grateful has produced that. Like gratitude has produced contentment, not just sitting here saying be content has made me that way, but the mindset of what can I find around me that brings joy and is fulfilling. And so anyways, that said, I am going to be teaching a course actually online this summer. For those of you who don't know, I am an adjunct professor at a previous university that I used to go to. And that's fun for me because it's a way that I can make money. It's a way that I can kind of stay connected to social work and forces me to read some books that maybe I wouldn't have chosen at this stage anymore. And I'm looking forward to that. I will also, though, be going to a wedding. So we already did book the flights for that. And we'll be staying with friends. But that is what always gets me. Like, we are going to be eating out more, and I am beginning to set some money aside for that.
Are these friends that you have housed?
No, actually.
Oh, wow.
We've housed her brother, but not her. So she'll probably be next on the list.
There you go.
Yeah. How about you, Jen?
So I have Kai with me all summer. The baby will still be in daycare.
I mean, you have your children with you 24/7, but Kai will be out of school.
in my heart.
You're like, I'll have Kai for the summer. Like, well, yeah.
He belongs to me. I house and feed him, but he will be in my presence.
Yeah.
More. So we're not doing any summer camps. They just, again, it's a low spend summer. I couldn't justify the cost. And so I'm just like working less, which means less money too. But yeah, we are. Oh man, this is.
If you feel bad vulnerable. For us, be sure to write it on your calendar that you plan to buy our book.
Right. Please buy our book. Do not get it from the library, please.
Or tell the library to get like 20 copies. That'll be fine too.
Tell them to do that and buy it.
Yeah.
Please.
If you set just 10 cents aside every day from now until September, you will be able to afford the book.
Sarah McLachlan's over here. I am going to be going to the indoor playground, like I said. And okay, this is a stretch goal. I want to go to Disney World with Kai. They've got a really good Florida resident deal. So I am hoping that I can stretch enough dollars to get that.
You'll have to decide soon because I think that pass is only good through September.
Yeah, I know. Well, we would go in the summer. So yeah, that would be it.
Okay. We're going to do this thing.
We are going to do it.
Thanks everyone for listening. We're so grateful for your listens, and we are especially grateful for your reviews like this one from Sazzle B, who says, so much fun. I absolutely love this podcast. The ladies give great advice, but also make everything so much fun. And the Bill of the Week intro is absolutely genius. Laugh emoji. Love, love, love this. And binge listening, the backlog.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sazzle
Thank you,
B.
Sazzle B.
We appreciate that review.
That. If you enjoyed the show, if it helped you take away something new, or you were inspired or encouraged, we would love to hear about it in a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. It very much helps us, and it helps us reach more people with the message.
Yeah. See you next time.
Frugal Friends is produced by Eric Sirianni. So by the time this comes out, it will be summer. This will be the first episode of our official summer.
Whose summer?
Kai and I.
Oh.
Yeah. Me and Kai are summer.
Oh, you
Mom
should
and
log
son.
it. You should.
Well, I already log it in like my 5-year journal.
Uh-huh.
But I am going to print out a June and July calendar, and I'm going to write the things we're going to do and when, so he can see it. And I'm just going to make sure that it's as structured as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So in hopes of not ruining him when he goes back to school in the fall. Ruining all the progress that he's made with having structure.
Yeah. Yeah, well. The teachers are ready for it. They know. They know the kids haven't been structured.
Yeah. But I got great news. So we actually paid for a 3-day camp at Kai's new school that they do for incoming kindergartners, just to familiarize them with the teachers and the kids and the campus. And the district funded the camp for the kids.
Whoa.
So I don't have to pay.
That's
for
amazing.
it. I had already paid for it, but I get to get my money back.
Wow.
So, and as far as camps
free
go,
free ride when you've already paid.
Yeah, that's if I didn't get my money back.
Yeah.
But like, as far as camps went, that was the most affordable one. You know, so, and I get the money back.
That's so great. What are you going to do with that money? That's like your bill of the week.
Oh, wow. I don't know. Maybe put it towards our Disney fund. I have a friend and former editor who just started working for the Disney Parks blog.
Whoa.
So maybe I'll try and get some freelance writing gigs there.
We're all getting summer jobs. Working our summer jobs.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
So looking forward to that.
Last season, millions tuned into the Betrayal podcast to hear a shocking story of deception. I'm Andrea Gunning, and now we're sharing an all-new story of betrayal. Justin Rutherford. Doctor, father, family man. It was the perfect cover to hide behind.
Detective Weaver said, "I'm sure you know why we're here." I was like, what in the world is going on?
Listen to Betrayal on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's brand new, Season 2. I'm Marissa Thalberg.
And I'm Stephen Wolf Bedeta, and we're excited to be back having bigger, bolder, and always real conversations.
Straight from the C-suite front lines of marketing, media, and more.
We have great friends joining from people you may know, like Vilmer Valderrama and Bobby Burke.
And people you'll want to know. So grab a coffee or, hey, even an Aperol Spritz and come join us on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart.
Listen to brand new on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, acclaimed comics writer and notorious Scott Summers hater, Rosie Knight.
Well, hello, Emmy-winning podcaster and totally unbiased Targaryen royal supporter, Jason Concepcion.
Somehow the X-Ray Vision podcast has returned.
And like always, we'll be here every week.
You'll hear from TV writers, actors, comics creators, pop culture critics.
Nothing is off the table.
Listen to X-Ray Vision on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.